I'm walking down to the depot. We got a train coming out of Atlanta towards us. It's in dynamic brakes, so I don't hear any brakes squealing. But it is floated up pretty good. Sounds like he's stopping. I was just at the top of the hill on this one. BNSF locomotive looked like it caught on fire. Another BNSF locomotive. I assume this is the double stack train. It is. A lot of JB Hunt on this train. I don't see much other stuff. I'll get more when I get down there. Unless you just like to hear me talking and stuff. This is a new train. I've been watching it for the last 2 or 3 months. And the BNSF locomotives are new. Usually I see CSX locomotives pulling this. I assume we're taking them from BNSF and they're loaning us the engines too. I say us, I feel like CSX is my family. CSX Transportation, #1 Depot Street. That'd be the little office building over there. It used to be the railroad depot. But no depot, no passengers, no passenger trains. And that's been since the Seaboard Coastline days. Alright. I'm going to go up and read the signals. I'm not going to leave you on, because my phone's about full. Alright, thank you. Alright, I don't see anything on there that tells what type of locomotive this is. It's a Burlington Northern Santa Fe, or we nickname them Big Nose Small Face. Alright, head for the front. This is a rigid truck here. If you look at the side beam there, it's straight, it's not flexible and stuff. #7968, this is the rear end. Alright, I photographed one of these trucks the other day. It's got AC traction on it, it says it right there. The 2 trucks, the one on the left and the one on the right, are powered. The one in the middle is not powered. Alright, but you see it's got 2 pistons up there and a big lever. What that does is that'll push down on that wheel, that axle, and allow that truck to carry the weight more gently across the railroad tracks. In other words, if they got weak railroad tracks, they'll energize that button and mash down on that wheel to carry the full weight of the locomotive. Instead of having it on 2 axles, they have it on 3 axles. Hopefully you can zoom this in to see better. I can't get any closer to this. I don't know whether that's gray paint or heat caused the paint to fall off or what. That's a truck from that direction. They got the same thing going on up here. Alright, the big piston up on top is keep the trucks from hunting, from shaking left and right like that bounce off one rail, hit the other rail. Those are snubbers to keep that from happening. That's a digital bell. Alright. And F for the front. Alright, that's your air hose connectors. The outside one there is brake pressure. That's the one with the yellow valve. And then they got the A and R. I had to think about that. And the actuator valve. And inboard one carries the main reservoir. In other words, whatever's in the air tanks is in that line. So if you got all these locomotives hooked up, they're all hooked up to the same pipe. One locomotive generates air for all of them. You got 3 steps there. I remember EMD had 5. Anyway, air conditioner is right there. And that big square up there. Up there's dynamic brakes. Hard to see because I'm looking into the sun. That's the dynamic brakes, and that's the ventilation for the car body. That blows all the dirt out of the car body, all the fumes and everything that would build up in there. And then on the back you had the radiator inlet and the radiator outlets and stuff up there on the top. And these vents on the side, you know, because you got hot equipment in there to ventilate. That would be where this one's blowing in, that one's blowing out. And this one's sucking air in, will filter the air too. That's what that big box is underneath it, that big door. And so they can get in and clean the dirt out of there. Alright, thank y'all. Hopefully I'll catch more. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I got a northbounder coming here. He's going to go in his left, my right at the switch, and he's going to get on the side. Looks like a coal train to me. 2 engines. SCWS coal train. Big long one, isn't it? That's just running perfectly smooth. No flat spots. No dry bearings. Everything looks good, y'all. frog of the switch right straight out in front of it. I think I see the bottom end of the train sneaking up. That's it, got a locomotive back there, distributing power. Got two of them on the bottom end. I don't know why that one has the orange light on. That orange light comes on when something's wrong with the locomotive, either the wheel slipping or something like that. I don't know. Alright, thank you. I'll get more. And yes, you can hear them pushing. I hear one locomotive real loud. The other one may not be running. I don't know. Alright, this one's got its headlights on. Track's probably cleared up down there. See, if I was paying attention, I would have walked down there to the switch to show it lining up, but I missed it. Alright, he's rolling out on the main line. He's got green over red. That's a clear signal. Maximum speed around here is 45 miles an hour, so he'll roll this one down the hill. He's pulling a little bit just to get us started. But then he'll probably cut down the idle and finish dynamic brakes to get down the hill. And then he's going to shoot up the other side, so he drop out dynamic, start pulling while the train's pushing his down the hill, and he can keep the speed up to get it up the hill. Alright, here we go. Thank you. Got the conductor waving, the engineer blowing a horn. Ready for a picture, y'all. Alright, I'm gonna walk up. I'll show the train. Alright, see that one truck? Those are two cars put together. That's another one. That makes three of them. One truck on the end, one in the middle, one in the middle. That's three more. One in the middle, one in the middle, that's three more. I was seeing them do three, I was seeing them do four, I was seeing them do five. Most of them nowadays are three. Because you kind of want all the customers in one car. Bottom end, no locomotive on it. Got orange EOT with the end of train device. That's what the locomotive, the engineer can mash a button and cause that to make the brakes go in emergency from the back end with blowing the valve back here. Then they have to reset it before they recharge the train system. But if you're in an emergency, pretty much want to blow the air from the back so everything ain't piling up on you. It's being dragged from the back. If it doesn't derail from the track, it keeps all the other cars start setting up the brakes, and they'll drag, and then they eventually get you stopped. I've known engineers, when the train goes into emergency, it was always from the front. They would knock the brakes off, the locomotive brakes, so it would drag and pull and help kind of keep the train straight. You don't want bunching up together, and you don't want it pulling too hard straight either. That's called string lining. Alright, the local switcher crew's back in Abbeville. Alright, thank you. Alright, there's the Abbeville switcher and his cars down there. He keeps his locomotive running to keep the air brakes pumped up. But he's got a lot of loss of air on it because that compressor has to keep coming on every 5 minutes. And I know that's not too economically good. I need to check the air hoses out, make sure they don't have any bad leaks. But that would show up on his air gauge, his brake pressure gauge, if he applies so much pressure to it and he don't get it up to pretty close to full at the bottom end, he knows he's got some leaks. Alright, thank y'all. Alright, I'm down there at the depot. It's a Friday afternoon, well, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We got one coming out of Greenwood. He's going mighty slow. He's waving at us, y'all. Manifest is a big freight train. The 82 corrosives on there. You can see how shiny the rims are. That means they came out of the hump yard up in North Carolina, Hamlet, North Carolina. These are empty cars. Even that tanker's empty. Bunch of cement hoppers, they're empty. I think they go back somewhere to Texas or something like that. Santa flows here, they're empty. They're gonna get plastic pellets put in them. Empty tank cars, empty gondola. I don't know, that gondola might have a load on it. Molten sulfur. I got blue cars sitting down there with me watching trains. Chicago Northwestern, one of their old cars. Liquefied petroleum gas, non-odorized. They're all empty. CSXT ballast car. Got the solar panels on it because that thing can track where it needs to dump at. Flammables on those cars, but they're empty. Home shop or repair. He's either got a heavy train he's pulling up that hill, or he's going to go stop at the south end when he gets at the top of the hill. He's not running fast. Bunch of auto rags on here. He came out of Hamlet, trying his rims. Nothing in them, they're all empty. They look all empty so far. Bottom end coming up down there. Blue EOT on the bottom of it. He's at the south end. He's got a absolute block signal down there. He'll have to wait till the other train comes in on the side to pass him. Then he can go out on the main line south to Atlanta. Alright, thank you. The northbound lights, last time I checked them, they're all red, so I don't know if I got a train coming or not. I just assume I got one because that last one was going so slow. We'll find out in a little bit. All right, thank you.